Hi, I'm Les from BrainSparks.ca, and this series is called Better Strategy for Startups. In this overview, I'll give you a quick idea about what the series is about. So, we created this set of materials to empower startup founders and leaders with tools they need to succeed in a dynamic, competitive environment. Participants, such as yourself viewing this or listening to our audiobooks or reading our ebooks, we'll get into startup specific challenges, market analysis, product innovation, growth strategies, financial planning, and adaptability, all with an emphasis on agility, resilience, and the lean startup methodology. We also have a series of workshops, real world examples, case studies, and actionable frameworks to help foster strategic thinking and equip founders to identify opportunities, scale effectively, and build sustainable competitive advantages. We want to encourage collaboration and networking, and we'll give you some tips to do so. So, if you're new to startups or you're thinking about it, this might be a great resource for you. Some of the objectives are to equip startup founders and leaders with the tools to develop and refine effective strategies, to understand the unique strategic challenges faced by startups, to learn how to identify and capitalize on market opportunities, to develop a framework for strategic decision making in a rapidly changing environment, and to build a culture of strategic thinking within your startup. Some of the benefits of our resources: we have tons of free resources and videos, as you've seen. We provide actionable tools that you can apply immediately. We give you real world examples. We also talk about failed startups or businesses and what you can learn from that. We have a founder centric approach. So, myself, multiple time startup founder, and some of my colleagues who also opine on these materials and the creation of all our tools and resources. And we highlight the importance of agility and adaptability in a startup strategy. In this section of Better Strategy for Startups, we'll talk about the unique strategic landscape. So, startups operate in a dynamic, often unpredictable environment. Unlike established companies, startups lack a predefined path to success, which makes strategic planning both crucial and challenging. Understanding the unique landscape of a startup means recognizing the key factors that differentiate it from traditional businesses, such as limited resources, the need for agility, and the high risk of failure. Startups must be nimble and adaptable, responding quickly to market shifts, technological advancements, and customer feedback. Recognizing these challenges allows founders to craft strategies that prioritize flexibility, innovation, and speed, all of which are essential in navigating the startup ecosystem. Startups also operate in a high uncertainty environment where growth is unpredictable. So, having a strategic mindset that encourages experimentation and iteration is critical. This understanding forms the foundation for developing a strategy that works within the startup's constraints while driving it toward growth. Startups operate in an environment that is fundamentally different from that of established companies. The unpredictable nature of the startup world means that there is no set formula for success. Unlike larger, more established businesses, startups must be highly adaptable and strategic. They have multiple roles to fill, multiple responsibilities, and very limited resources. The absence of a well established brand, customer base, or financial backing adds an additional layer of complexity to decision making processes. Understanding these unique challenges and opportunities is crucial for founders to develop a successful strategy. Startups typically have limited financial resources, small teams, and fewer operational assets. Unlike large companies that can rely on substantial budgets and dedicated departments, startups must often make do with fewer people and a lot less capital. This forces entrepreneurs to be resourceful and innovative, leveraging every asset at their disposal to achieve maximum impact. For example, instead of a large scale marketing campaign, the startup may need to rely on grassroots marketing, social media, or word of mouth to grow their brand. Additionally, startups that often operate with tight cash flow, requiring founders to make every single penny count. And as a result, effective resource allocation becomes a cornerstone of any startup strategy. Founders must prioritize their expenditures, focusing on areas with the highest potential areas for growth, such as customer acquisition or product development. One of the core differentiators of a startup is its ability to operate with agility. Established companies often face bureaucratic layers and rigid processes that can slow down decision making and hinder their ability to adapt quickly. In contrast, startups must remain nimble, able to pivot rapidly when market conditions or customer needs change. The speed is crucial because the startup ecosystem is marked by constant innovation, technological advancements, and evolving consumer preferences. In many industries, speed to market can be the deciding factor between success and failure. Startups need to move quickly to take advantage of emerging trends, launch new products, or respond to competitive threats. However, speed must not come at the expense of strategic thinking. While quick action is essential, it's important that startups balance agility with a clear sense of direction and purpose. Startups are inherently riskier than established businesses due to their unproven business models, new product or service offerings, and unknown market conditions. Unlike large established companies that have stable revenue streams and customer loyalty, startups are subject to unpredictable fluctuations in growth, market demand, and financial stability. Many startups face high likelihood of failure in the early stages, which can be discouraging for founders and investors alike. However, this uncertainty also presents opportunities for significant rewards. With the right strategic mindset, startups can use their flexibility to innovate and capture market share in ways that larger companies cannot. Startups that successfully navigate uncertainty and can scale rapidly and disrupt industries are very successful. Founders must embrace the risk and uncertainty, using it as a motivator for continuous improvement, experimentation, and iteration. One of the most effective strategies for startups is adopting a mindset focused on experimentation and iteration. Unlike established businesses with long product development cycles and formalized processes, startups can afford to test, fail, and learn quickly. By experimenting with different approaches, whether it's in marketing, product design, or customer engagement, startups can discover what works and refine their strategies over time. The fail fast, fail cheap mentality is common in the startup world, where small calculated risks are encouraged. This approach allows startups to quickly determine whether their ideas are viable and make adjustments or pivot as needed. Experimentation also fosters a culture of innovation where the focus is on continuous learning and problem solving. Moreover, iterative development enables startups to refine their products or services in response to real world feedback. By constantly gathering insights from customers, partners, and the market, startups can fine tune their offerings and ensure that they remain relevant and competitive. This flexibility and responsiveness to feedback is essential for long term success in a rapidly changing environment. While innovation is critical for startups, it's also essential to remain focused on core objectives. Startups often face the temptation to chase multiple opportunities at once, which can lead to a lack of direction or diluted efforts. Therefore, it's important for founders to maintain a clear vision and strategic focus, prioritizing the initiatives that have the most potential to drive growth. Startups must identify and focus on their unique value proposition, sometimes called UVP, that sets them apart from competitors and resonates with customers. This requires a deep understanding of the target market, customer needs, and industry trends. Strong strategic focus will help startups avoid distractions and allocate their limited resources toward initiatives that have the greatest chance of success. The startup journey is often fraught with challenges from financial constraints to market uncertainty and unexpected obstacles. Founders must foster a culture of resilience within their teams, where setbacks are seen as learning experiences rather than failures. Building a resilient mindset helps the startup to persist through difficult times and continuously adapt to changing circumstances. A key element of this resilience is adaptability. Startups must be able to quickly pivot or adjust their strategy in response to new data, customer feedback, or shifting market conditions. This adaptability is one of the key traits that differentiate successful startups from those that fail. Being able to change direction without losing momentum is an essential part of navigating the unpredictable startup ecosystem. In addition to internal strategies, startups must also focus on building strong external relationships, whether it's with investors, mentors, customers, or partners. Creating a network of trusted relationships can provide startups with valuable resources, feedback, and opportunities. Investors, for example, can provide the financial backing needed to scale, while mentors can offer guidance based on their own experiences. Startups can also benefit from strategic partnerships that allow them to leverage resources, expertise, or distribution channels that they wouldn't have otherwise have access to. Building these relationships early on can help startups gain a competitive advantage and scale more effectively. The unique dynamics of the startup world require a different approach to strategy and decision making compared to established businesses. With limited resources, high uncertainty, and the need for constant innovation, startups must prioritize agility, speed, and experimentation to thrive. By embracing risk, maintaining focus, and fostering a culture of adaptability, Startups can navigate the challenges of entrepreneurial journey and position themselves for long-term success. Understanding these factors and building a strategic framework around them is essential for any startup looking to scale, grow, and compete in an ever-evolving. Let's talk about startups' mission, vision, and core values. These are the guiding principles that provide clarity and direction as the company grows. The vision is the long term aspiration, the big picture goal that inspires and unites the team and answers the question, what impact do we want to make in this world? The mission, on the other hand, defines the company's purpose in the present and describes how the startup plans to achieve its vision. It is more tangible, setting clear objectives for daily operations. Core values are the principles that shape the company's culture and decision making. These values set the tone for how the startup engages with its employees, customers, and stakeholders, fostering an environment where everyone is aligned with the company's goals. Having a clear, compelling vision, mission, and set of values ensures that the startup remains focused and can make strategic decisions that support long term success. It also helps attract like minded partners, investors, and talent who resonate with the company's purpose. In the fast paced world of startups, establishing a strong foundational framework is essential for long term success. One of the most critical aspects of this framework is the clear definition of the startup's vision, mission, and core values. These elements serve as the guiding principles that not only shape the company's strategy, but also inspire and align its teams, customers, and stakeholders. Understanding the distinction between these three elements and how they work together helps founders craft a purpose driven organization that thrives in an ever evolving market. The vision, think of that as your long term aspiration. It's the ultimate goal or desired future state. It reflects the long term aspirations of the company, providing a sense of direction and purpose. The vision answers the profound question, what impact do we want to make in the world? It is an aspirational statement that is meant to inspire both the internal team and external stakeholders, such as investors and customers. A compelling vision serves as a beacon, offering clarity about where the company is headed, even during times of uncertainty. The vision is often broad and visionary, focusing on the bigger picture. For example, the vision for a health tech startup might be to revolutionize global healthcare by making medical technology accessible for all. This goal is ambitious, yet it clearly sets the long term focus of the company. A well articulated vision has the power to unite the team, helping them stay motivated and aligned toward a common purpose. It gives employees a reason to rally behind the company's goals, and it helps attract talent who are passionate about the mission. Additionally, a strong vision resonates with investors who seek long-term impact and sustainability. While the vision paints a picture of the future, the mission is concerned with the present. The mission statement defines the company's purpose and outlines how it intends to achieve its vision. It is more concrete and focused on actionable goals and daily operations. The mission statement answers the question, what is our purpose and how do we achieve it? For example, the mission of a startup focused on sustainable packaging might be to reduce global plastic waste by providing affordable, eco friendly alternatives to traditional packaging. This mission is specific, practical, and provides clear direction for decision making and day to day activities. It sets the foundation for strategic initiatives, product development, and customer engagement. The mission is often a tool for decision making, helping founders and teams determine whether a particular project or initiative aligns with the company's broader goals. It also serves as a guidepost for employees, offering clarity on what their work contributes to and how it aligns with the company's overall objectives. Now, think of the core values as the principles that shape the company culture. While the vision and mission define the startup's direction and purpose, the core values are the principles that guide how the company operates. These values shape the company's culture, influencing how employees work together, make decisions, and engage with customers and partners. Core values represent the how of the startup, how decisions are made, how challenges are approached, and how success is measured. Core values often stem from the founder's personal beliefs and the company's intended cultural ethos. For example, if a startup values collaboration and transparency, it might prioritize open communication and teamwork within the organization. Alternatively, a startup focused on innovation might encourage risk taking, creativity, and problem solving as key aspects of its culture. Core values serve as a moral compass for the company, ensuring that decisions align with the company's broader purpose and that employees are constantly working in a way that reflects the company's ideals. For example, a startup company with the value of integrity would foster a culture of honesty and accountability, not only internally, but also dealing with customers and external partners. You also have to ensure that your vision, mission, and core values are aligned. For a startup to thrive, there must be alignment between its vision, mission, and core values. When these elements work together harmoniously, the company can maintain focus and drive consistent growth. The clearly defined vision and mission, along with strong core values, create consistency across the startup's operations and external communications. Employees, customers, investors, and partners all have a clear understanding of what the startup stands for, what it aims to achieve, and how it plans to get there. Having a vision and mission are both clear and compelling and enable the company to make strategic decisions that support its long term goals. These guiding principles become a reference point for choosing the business opportunities, navigating challenges, and identifying areas for growth. And if an opportunity aligns with the mission and values, it can be pursued with confidence. If it doesn't, it can be reevaluated or rejected. A well defined vision, mission, and set of core values help startups attract like minded individuals, partners, and investors. Talented employees who resonate with the company's values are more likely to stay engaged and perform at their best. Similarly, investors and partners who align with the startup's mission will be more inclined to provide the support needed to scale the business. When startups stay true to their core values and consistently deliver to their mission, they build trust with their stakeholders. This trust helps foster customer loyalty, attract repeat business, and cultivate long term relationships with investors and partners. As a startup grows and matures, its vision, mission, and values may need to evolve with it. In the early stages, a startup may have a broader vision but lack clear operational strategies. As the company scales, the mission and values may become more refined to address changing market conditions or organizational needs. The vision may also need to expand as new opportunities arise or as the startup grows into new markets. However, even as these elements evolve, it's important that they remain authentic and reflective of the core essence of the startup. Founders must regularly revisit the company's vision, mission, and values to ensure they are still relevant and aligned with the company's goals. Doing so helps maintain clarity and ensure that the startup remains on track, even as it adapts to new challenges. Defining your startup's vision, mission, and core values is not just a one time exercise, but a foundational step that shapes the company's culture, operations, and strategic direction. These guiding principles provide clarity, purpose, and focus, helping startups stay on track amidst uncertainty and rapid change. With a compelling vision to inspire, clear mission to guide daily efforts, and strong core values to shape culture and decisions, startups are better positioned for long term success. Now, let's talk about identifying your target market and value proposition. Once the foundation of vision, mission, and values is established, the next strategic step is to understand your market and develop a compelling value proposition. Target market refers to the specific group of consumers or businesses that your product or service is designed to serve. Identifying this group requires market research, understanding consumer pain points, and defining demographic and psychographic characteristics. This step is critical because a product that appeals to everyone is likely to appeal to no one. Alongside the target market, the value proposition is the unique value your startup offers to customers. It answers the question, why should customers choose your product or service over others? A strong value proposition clearly communicates the benefits of your solution, addressing customer needs or problems in a way that differentiates your offering from competitors. By thoroughly identifying the target market and crafting a value proposition that resonates with them, startups can tailor their marketing and sales strategies, ensuring they reach the right audience with the right message. The target market refers to the specific group of consumers or businesses that your product or service is designed to serve. This is not just a broad swath of the population, but a carefully selected segment of people or organizations who are most likely to benefit from and be interested in what you offer. Identifying this target market is an essential step in creating a product or service that will not only succeed but thrive in a competitive environment. To identify your target market, you'll need to conduct thorough market research. This involves gathering data about potential customers, understanding their needs, behaviors, preferences, and pain points. Market research can be qualitative, such as with focus groups or interviews, or quantitative, such as through the use of surveys or analyzing secondary data. Key elements of market research include demographics. This includes age, gender, income, education, and geographic location of your target market. Understanding these factors helps you define the characteristics of your ideal customer. Also, psychographics. Psychographic data dives deeper into the motivations, values, attitudes, and lifestyle choices, as well as interests of your potential customers. By understanding what drives this behavior, you can tailor your messaging to resonate with their needs in a more deep way. Also, pain points. One of the most critical aspects of understanding your target market is identifying the problems, challenges, or unmet needs that your product or service will solve. These pain points are what drive customers to seek out solutions. Knowing these enables you to develop solutions that feel personal and relevant to your audience. And lastly, buying behaviors. How does your target market make purchasing decisions? Are they influenced by price, quality, or brand? What channels do they use to make purchases, online or in store? Understanding these factors can help you shape your marketing and sales approach. Identifying your target market effectively ensures that your startup's offerings are not scattershot, but tailored to a specific group that will genuinely benefit from your solution. Trying to cater to everyone often leads to a diluted message that doesn't resonate with anyone. A clear understanding of your target market allows you to focus on creating a product or service that will be compelling and highly relevant. Once you know your target market, the next step is to develop a value proposition, the unique value of your product or service that is offered to customers. Your value proposition should be the centerpiece of your marketing and sales strategy, clearly communicating why customers should choose your startup over competitors. It's the answer to the fundamental question: what makes your product or service different from the others in the market, and why should customers care? A strong value proposition is not simply a description of the features of your product or service. Rather, it focuses on the benefits that customers will receive. It emphasizes how your solution will improve their lives, make their work life easier, or solve a particular problem, or address the need they have. A compelling value proposition does the following. It clearly defines customer benefits. What specific problem does your product solve? How does it improve the customer situation? The value proposition should focus on the benefits of your product, not just the features. For example, instead of saying, this software has advanced encryption, a stronger value proposition would be, our software ensures your sensitive data is fully protected, giving you peace of mind and security. It also differentiates your offer. It answers why your product is unique and better than the alternatives in the market. What makes you stand out? Maybe your solution is more affordable, more efficient, easier to use, more sustainable. The value proposition should emphasize your differentiators in a way that speaks directly to your target market's pain points. And lastly, it resonates with your target market. Your value proposition must speak directly to the needs, desires, and emotions of your target audience. This is why understanding their motivations and pain points is so important. If your solution addresses these needs in a compelling way, customers are more likely to choose your product over the competitors. A clear and concise value proposition should ideally be no longer than a few sentences. It should be easy for customers to understand within seconds, explaining why your product is worth their time and money. If it's too complex or unclear, you risk losing potential customers' attention before they even get a chance to learn more about your product or service. And it's not enough to simply define your target market and create a value proposition independently. These two must be in alignment. The value proposition must directly address the specific needs, challenges, or desires of the target market, ensuring that your solution resonates with them and offers a clear reason to choose their product or service. This alignment ensures that your marketing efforts are precise and effective. With a deep understanding of your target market, you can craft a message that speaks directly to them, placing your product as the solution to their problems. Once you have a defined target market and a compelling value proposition, you can tailor your marketing messages and campaigns to specifically address your audience's needs. Whether it's through digital ads, social media, or content marketing, a clear understanding of both allows you to reach your market with the right message at the right time. In addition to marketing, a strong value proposition also guides your sales strategy. Sales representatives will be able to communicate the product's benefits clearly and effectively, demonstrating exactly why your solution can solve the target customer's pain points. Lastly, a target market needs and preferences should also influence the evolution of your product. As you learn more about your customers' desires and frustrations, you can iterate and improve on your product or service, making sure it consistently delivers value. Identifying your target market and crafting your value proposition isn't a one-time process. These elements should evolve as your startup grows, and it's important to regularly test and refine them. Feedback from early customers, market shifts, and evolving industry trends can all impact both your target market and your value proposition. Startups can use techniques like customer surveys, interviews, and user testing to gather feedback and validate whether their value proposition truly resonates with the audience. A/B testing different messages or approaches can also help fine-tune the proposition. Defining your target market and crafting a compelling value proposition are crucial steps in the success of any startup. By conducting a thorough market research and tailoring your product or service to the needs and pain points of a specific group of customers, you'll increase the likelihood of creating a solution that truly addresses their challenges. A strong value proposition ensures that your startup stands out from the competition and clearly communicates why customers should choose you. With these two elements in place, your marketing, sales, and product development strategies will be much more effective, driving customer acquisition and fostering long-term growth. Now we'll talk about the importance of a lean startup approach to strategy. For startups, the lean startup methodology is an essential approach to developing a sustainable business model. This approach emphasizes building a minimal viable product or MVP, testing it with real users, gathering feedback, and iterating rapidly based on what works and what doesn't. Unlike traditional companies that may rely on extensive upfront planning, the lean startup model encourages a test and a learn mentality, allowing entrepreneurs to refine their ideas with real world data rather than assumptions. The lean methodology reduces the risk of failure by ensuring that the startup only invests in ideas and features that are validated by customers. It's a strategy that helps conserve resources while quickly identifying what the market truly needs. By adopting this approach, startups can pivot when necessary, course correct quickly, and continuously refine their product or service to better fit customer demands. The lean startup method encourages startups to be strategic in an iterative, evidence driven way, focusing on efficiency and flexibility. The lean startup approach is a critical strategy for entrepreneurs seeking to minimize risk and maximize efficiency. In a fast paced, uncertain market, startups must innovate rapidly while avoiding the sunk cost fallacy, investing in ideas that haven't been validated by customers. Here's a deeper look at why the lean startup approach is so essential. So there are several core principles of a lean startup methodology. Number one is the MVP. The first step in a lean startup is to create an MVP. The MVP is a version of your product with the fewest features that still solves the customer's problem. It's not the final version of your product, but rather a functional prototype that allows you to gather the most crucial feedback from real users with minimal investment of time and resources. So why does this matter? Instead of investing months or years and thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, you get to test your assumptions early and learn faster. This minimizes wasted effort and resources. Number two, build, measure, learn feedback loop. The core of the lean startup method is the build, measure, learn loop. Entrepreneurs build an MVP, measure customer response, and then learn from that data to improve the product. This loop is repeated multiple times to refine and optimize the offering. So why does this matter? It shifts the focus from making decisions based on guesswork or assumptions to making data-driven decisions. Constant testing and learning enable entrepreneurs to adjust quickly. Number three, customer validation and feedback. Lean startups place a high value on customer feedback rather than on intuition or traditional market research. By releasing early versions of the product to small targeted groups of users, startups can quickly determine if there is demand for product, what features work, and what needs improvement. So why does this matter? This allows startups to avoid building a product no one wants. Real customer feedback can prevent the common pitfall of spending resources on developing features that are not aligned with the current market needs. Number four, pivot or persevere. After testing the MVP and gathering feedback, startups must decide whether to pivot, make a fundamental change in the product or business model, or persevere, keep refining the existing approach. So why does this matter? This decision is crucial because it helps you respond to market realities. If your MVP isn't meeting customer expectations, it's better to pivot early than continue investing in the wrong direction. Number five, continuous improvement and iteration. Lean startups are characterized by their ability to iterate. Each cycle of the build, measure, learn loop leads to continuous product refinement. Why does this matter? Iteration helps you gradually improve your product based on real world data and changing market conditions, leading to a more refined offering that better meets customer needs. So, what are the benefits of the lean startup approach? Reduce risk and cost, because by testing assumptions early and focusing on creating an MVP, startups reduce the financial risk of developing a product without knowing if it will succeed. This also allows them to spend their resources more wisely, making each investment count. Faster market fit. With constant feedback and iteration, startups can reach product market fit faster. This is crucial because achieving market fit means your product resonates with your target audience, leading to higher customer satisfaction and ultimately growth. Agility and adaptability. The lean startup approach encourages startups to stay nimble. As the market evolves and customer needs shift, the startup can easily pivot or tweak its products in response to new insights. Customer-centered product development. The focus is on customer feedback and ensures the product is always aligned with the needs of the users. This increases the likelihood of product adoption and customer loyalty. Efficient resource allocation. Startups often operate with limited budgets and teams. The lean model helps prioritize tasks and allocates resources toward high impact areas, ensuring that every action serves the business' ultimate goals. While the lean startup approach can offer substantial benefits, it also requires commitment, flexibility, and careful attention to market signals. Here are a few challenges to keep in mind. Too much focus on the MVP. It's easy to fall into the trap of continuously testing versions of your MVP without moving forward. While testing is essential, eventually you need to scale and build a sustainable product. Lack of customer feedback. Gathering accurate, actionable feedback can sometimes be challenging, especially if the startup fails to find the right audience for the MVP or if the feedback gathered is not representative. Balancing speed and quality. Lean startups prioritize speed, but it's important to balance speed with quality. Failing to deliver a functioning MVP or rushing through iterations can backfire if it leads to negative customer experiences. The lean startup methodology isn't just about speed, it's about intelligent speed. It's about making data driven decisions and adapting quickly to feedback in a way that conserves resources and maximizes the likelihood of product market fit. For startups in today's unpredictable landscape, the ability to iterate and adapt is not only beneficial, but often essential to long term survival and growth. By embracing this approach, entrepreneurs can build more sustainable businesses while keeping risk at manageable levels. Now, let's talk a bit about your unique selling proposition. This is the element that sets your startup apart from the competition and makes it attractive to your target market. The USP encapsulate why customers should choose your product or service above all other options available. It could be a feature, benefit, pricing structure, or experience that no one else offers in quite the same way. Finding a strong USP requires a deep understanding of both your customers and your competition. By analyzing competitors' offerings, you can identify gaps in the market or areas where your solution provides distinct advantages. The USP must resonate with your target market, solving a problem or fulfilling a need that is more compelling than the alternatives. It's a vital part of the overall marketing and positioning strategy, helping your startup stand out in a crowded marketplace. A clear and concise USP drives customer interest, builds brand loyalty, and enables startups to position themselves as the go to solution for the audience's needs. Together, these topics form the core strategy framework for startups, helping entrepreneurs lay the foundation for sustainable growth. Understanding the startup landscape, defining core elements like vision and values, identifying the right market and value proposition, and adopting lean, flexible strategies are all interconnected. With a clear USP to differentiate the product, startups can strategically position themselves for success. Determining your USP is one of the most important steps in establishing a strong foundation for your startup. The USP is what makes your product or service stand out in the market, and it answers the essential questions. Why should customers choose you over the competition? Here's a deeper dive into why the USP is so crucial and how to define and communicate it effectively. Your USP is the distinctive quality feature or benefit that makes your product or service different from the competition. It could be a specific feature that no one else offers, a unique benefit that appeals directly to your target audience's needs, pricing strategy that undercuts competitors without compromising on value, an exceptional customer experience that delivers more convenience, personalization, or supports than other options. Your USP helps clearly define why your target market should prefer your offering over others, whether it's because of quality, price, convenience, innovation, or customer service. So, why does USP matter? Number one, it's a differentiation in a crowded market. In today's competitive market, consumers may have a lot of choices, and your USP helps make your startup stand out. Without a USP, your product or service may blend in with others, and potential customers may not see a compelling reason to choose you. An example is how Apple revolves around sleek, high quality design and user friendly interfaces, while Samsung often focuses on cutting edge technology and variety. Number two, customer focused marketing. Your USP is vital for shaping your marketing and communication strategies. It serves as the core message that resonates throughout your messaging, advertising, and branding efforts. By clearly communicating your USP, you can create a stronger connection with potential customers. Another example is the Dollar Shave Club. It has the convenience of offering high quality razors straight to your door, but for a fraction of the price of major competitors by directly addressing the pain point of overpriced razors and the hassle of going to the store. The USP guides product development. Your USP not only guides marketing, but also product development. It ensures that your product stays true to the promise that you're making to your customers and you continually meet their expectations. For example, if your USP is centered around sustainability, then your product development should prioritize eco friendly materials and processes to align with that promise. Brand loyalty. A compelling USP can drive customer loyalty by creating a unique emotional connection with your brand. When people identify with your brand's unique values, features, or benefits, they are more likely to become repeat customers. For example, Patagonia focuses on environmental responsibility and sustainability, so it fosters brand loyalty among customers who align with those values. How do you define your startup's USP? It requires research, creativity, and a deep understanding of both your customers and competition. Here are some key steps. Number one, understand your customers. To craft a strong USP, you must understand who your customers are and what they truly care about. Look into their needs, pain points, desires, and what motivates their purchasing decisions. This understanding will help you identify what aspect of your product or service appeals to them the most. Consider conducting surveys, interviews, or focus groups with your target audience to uncover these insights. For example, a fitness startup may discover that their target market values affordability and convenience more than luxury gym memberships, leading them to offer a more cost effective, flexible subscription model. Number two, analyze your competition. Understanding your competition is just as important as knowing your customers. A great USP emerges when you can pinpoint what competitors are offering and where gaps exist. Look at competitors' products, services, customer service, and branding. Where can you offer something different, better, or more appealing? Competitive analysis helps you identify unique angles for your offering that make you stand out. For example, many coffee shops sell coffee, but Starbucks carved out a niche focusing on premium personalized experience that encourages customers to linger in store, offering a third place between home and work. Number three, define what makes you different. Your USP is rooted in what you do better and differently than others. This could be a feature, benefit, or quality that is unique to your product or service. Be honest about your strengths and how they align with your customer needs. Avoid statements that are vague, like best quality or great customer service, unless you can back them up with clear differentiated value. For example, in the subscription box market, Birchbox focused on personalized product discovery for beauty products, catering to customers who wanted to try new items based on their individual preferences. Number four, create a clear and concise message. Once you've identified your USP, it's important to communicate it clearly. Your message should be easy to understand and memorable. A strong USP is usually short and to the point, allowing customers to grasp the benefit instantly. For example, Nike communicates a powerful and emotional message centered on inspiring athletes and creating a sense of empowerment with their logo, Just Do It. Number five, test and refine. Your USP is not set in stone. Once you've created it, test it in the market. Gather feedback from customers and refine your USP based on their reactions. Be open to adjusting your messaging if necessary. For example, a startup selling eco friendly cleaning supplies might discover through customer feedback that their USP resonates more with their audience when framed as safe for your family and the planet, rather than just emphasizing environmental friendliness. Integrate your USP into your business strategy. Once you've identified your USP, it becomes a cornerstone of your business and marketing strategy. Here's how to integrate it effectively. For product development, make sure the product or service you're delivering aligns with your USP and keeps offering that unique benefit. For brand messaging, your USP should be front and center in your marketing materials, website, ads, social media, and promotional content. For customer experience, ensure that every customer interaction reinforces the value you promise in your USP, whether it's through your website, customer service, or product usage. The USP is more than just a catchy slogan. It's the foundation of your brand's identity and a critical factor in attracting and retaining customers. Defining your USP requires thoughtful analysis of both your audience and competitive landscape. When done correctly, a powerful USP can elevate your startup from just another product or service on the shelf to the go-to solution in your market's needs. So for this past few episodes, I have recommended homework. So if you're thinking about starting a new company or you have a startup that you've been working on, I want you to think about your vision, mission, and core values, unique selling proposition, and spend some time iterating that. Now let's talk about market research and competitive analysis. For startups, understanding the market and competitive environment is crucial for creating a strategy that enables growth and differentiation. Market research involves systemically gathering and analyzing data about the industry, potential customers, competitors, and broader market trends. This process can be divided into two primary categories: primary research, which is gathering data directly from the sources like customers, surveys, focus groups, and interviews, and secondary research, which is analyzing existing data from reports, studies, and databases. Through effective market research, startups can identify gaps in the market, customer pain points, and unmet needs, which can then shape product development, market, and positioning. Competitive analysis, on the other hand, focuses on studying direct and indirect competitors to understand their strengths, weaknesses, strategies, and market positioning. This analysis helps startups identify areas where they can outperform their competitors or differentiate themselves. By understanding competitors' product offerings, pricing, customer service strategies, and branding, startups can make an informed decision about how to position themselves uniquely in the market. Conducting both market research and competitive analysis helps startups make data driven decisions, avoid common pitfalls, and better anticipate market trends. Effective market research helps startups gather critical insights to tailor to their strategy. Here's a deeper look at the process. Number one, primary research methods, also called direct data collection. Customer surveys and interviews. So, this is talking directly to potential customers, which can reveal insights about their preferences, expectations, and pain points. Focus groups is when you gather a small group of target users to discuss a product or service and can help validate ideas. Observation studies is when you watch customer behavior in real world settings, which offers valuable clues about purchasing habits. There's also prototype testing, where you have users interact with a prototype or MVP, which provides direct feedback for improvement. Next, we have secondary research methods, which is also called existing data analysis. Here we have industry reports and studies, where we research market trends, growth predictions, and industry benchmarks, which can help startups understand broader dynamics. There's also competitor financials and reports. Analyzing publicly available financial statements or investor presentations can offer insights into the financial health of key competitors. There's also customer reviews and forums. Studying online reviews and discussions can help highlight recurring customer pain points that a startup can address. For competitive analysis, we can ensure startups carve out a unique position in the market. Number one, identify key competitors. You have direct competitors, which are businesses offering a similar product or service targeting the same customer base. And you've got indirect competitors, which are alternative solutions that may serve the same need in a different way. Number two is analyzing competitor strengths and weaknesses. A SWOT analysis is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This structured approach helps compare key competitors in different areas and identifies ways that they differentiate themselves. There's also a market positioning map. So this is where you visualize where competitors stand in terms of price, quality, or other attribute aids and strategic positioning. There's also branding and messaging. Review how your competitors communicate their value proposition. That can highlight opportunities for differentiation. And number three is strategic application. What is your differentiation strategy? Startups can focus on unique aspects, whether pricing, innovation, service quality, brand identity, to stand out. There's market gaps and trends where you recognize unmet customer needs, which allows startups to innovate in ways that competitors haven't. There's also pricing models and revenue streams. Understanding different pricing strategies, subscription, one-time purpose, freemium, can help startups optimize their revenue approach. And I'll also say, if you want to go to our website at BrainSparks.ca, a lot of these templates and tools and guides are there for free if you want a little bit of nudge getting them started. Once a startup has a solid grasp of its market and competition, the next step is identifying market trends and opportunities that can fuel growth. Market trends refer to shifts in consumer behavior, technological advancement, or industry changes that have the potential to impact a startup's success. Identifying these trends early allows startups to adjust their strategies in alignment with emerging needs or to capitalize on new technologies or customer preferences. Opportunities may arise from several sources: changes in customer expectations, regulatory changes, new technological innovations, or undeveloped areas within the market. For instance, the rise of mobile technology, for example, created opportunities for startups to develop mobile apps or digital services that weren't possible before. Similarly, the growing demand for sustainability has led to increased opportunities in eco-friendly product development. Startups that stay attuned to these shifts can better anticipate customer needs, innovate around these trends, and remain competitive. By spotting and capitalizing on opportunities in the market, startups can differentiate themselves from competitors and carve out niches that provide significant growth potential. Once a startup has a solid grasp of its market landscape, it understands the key competitors. The next critical step is identifying emerging market trends and uncover potential opportunities that can drive sustainable growth. This process involves both observation and analysis, requiring startups to continuously scan their environment for changes in consumer behavior, technological innovation, policy shifts, and broader industry dynamics. Market trends and patterns or directional shifts in how markets operate or how consumers behave. These can include rising demand for certain types of products, increasing adoption of a technology, or evolving lifestyle preferences. Trends often emerge slowly and then gain momentum, offering startups that identify them early a strategic advantage. For example, the rise of AI, remote work, and personalized digital experiences are all significant trends that have disrupted traditional business models and opened up new opportunities for startups. Opportunities, on the other hand, are actionable openings that startups can exploit, often as a result of these larger trends. This may include unmet customer needs or dissatisfaction with existing solutions, gaps in service delivery in specific geographic or demographic markets, regulatory changes that create room for innovation, such as privacy laws changing or secure data solutions, technological enablers that lower barriers to entry, such as cloud computing, APIs, and no code platforms, or cultural or societal shifts, such as increasing emphasis on mental health, sustainability, or ethical sourcing. To identify trends and opportunities effectively, startups can use several methods. They could do market research with surveys, interviews, and focus groups, and reveal changing customer preferences and pain points. They could do competitive analysis by monitoring competitors. They can uncover where they are investing, which markets they're entering, and what trends they are responding to. There's social listening and online behavior tracking. That's using platforms like Reddit, X, and TikTok that often surface emerging behaviors before they appear in formal reports. Industry reports and publications can be great for trend forecasts, analyst insights, and reports from consulting firms. And there's engaging with early adopters. These customers often spot and demand innovation before the mainstream does. Startups that proactively track and respond to these trends are better positioned to adjust their product roadmap to meet emerging demands, innovate in ways that align with future consumer expectations, launch differentiated offerings in underserved segments, avoid obsolescence in rapidly shifting markets. For example, the growth of health conscious consumerism has led to a surge in functional food startups offering clean label, protein rich snacks. Similarly, startups in the climate tech space are leveraging both regulatory support and consumer demand for low carbon alternatives to scale rapidly. In summary, identifying trends and opportunities isn't just about reacting to change, it's about staying ahead of it. Startups that develop a strategic muscle for scanning their environment and adapting to it quickly can not only survive in competitive markets, but lead them. In this section, we'll talk about developing a sustainable competitive advantage. The competitive advantage is what sets a startup apart from its competitors and allows it to gain superior market share or profitability. However, to build a sustainable competitive advantage, startups must create a differentiator that can be maintained over time. It is not enough to merely have a competitive advantage. The edge must be defensible and difficult for competitors to replicate. This advantage could stem from several areas. One is product innovation, offering a unique product or service that meets a specific need in a way that no one else does. Or two, cost leadership, being able to deliver products or services at a lower cost than competitors, typically achieved through efficiency or economies of scale. Three is brand loyalty, building a strong brand that resonates deeply with your customers, making them less likely to switch to a competitor. Four, network effects, creating a product or service where the value increases as more people use it. This is common with social platforms, marketplaces, and communication tools. And five is intellectual property, leveraging patents, trademarks, or proprietary technologies to maintain exclusivity. To achieve sustainability, this competitive advantage must be supported by a combination of internal factors, such as resources, skills, and knowledge, and external factors like market positioning or strategic partnerships. Startups must continuously evaluate and protect these advantages to ensure that they can remain competitive over time. Competitive advantage is the unique edge a startup has that enables it to outperform its rivals, whether that's through better products, services, lower costs, superior customer service, or a more innovative business model. But in the fast paced world of startups, where innovation cycles are short and copycats are abound, having an advantage isn't enough. The edge needs to be sustainable, meaning it can be maintained over time despite competitive pressures. A sustainable competitive advantage is one that is durable and doesn't erode quickly, is defensible, which means it's hard for competitors to imitate or substitute. It's valuable because it addresses real need or pain point for customers, and it's aligned so it fits with the startup's mission, capabilities, and market strategy. To build this kind of long term advantage, startups can focus on several strategic areas. One, like we've already mentioned, is the unique value proposition. The core of any sustainable valid advantage is the unique value proposition that clearly explains why customers should choose your product or service over others. This often centers around a combination of benefits like convenience, quality, cost effectiveness, personalization, or innovation. For example, Airbnb's UVP wasn't just about cheaper accommodations, it was about creating an experience of belonging anywhere, which reshaped how people viewed travel. They've also struggled really recently as fees have crept up, and you've probably seen the viral posts where people are paying hundreds of dollars for cleaning fees, where cities have kind of outright banned use of Airbnb. Startups that own key technologies such as algorithms, patents, or data assets can prevent competitors from easily copying their product or process. For example, a startup with a patented process for plant based protein extraction holds a technological edge that is hard to replicate. Building a strong brand that customers resonate with, especially in trust based markets like healthcare, finance, or wellness, can be a powerful edge. For example, consumers may pay more for products from brands they trust, especially when it comes to safety, ethics, or quality. Superior internal processes like supply chain management, customer onboarding, or support can reduce costs and improve service delivery, creating an advantage that's tough to match without significant investment. Providing a seamless, delightful customer experience through intuitive design, responsive support, or community building can turn customers into advocates and create high switching costs. For example, Apple's ecosystem and customer experience makes it hard for users to switch to other platforms. Startups that operate platforms or marketplaces can build powerful network effects where the product becomes more valuable than the user as more users join. Once critical mass is reached, new entrants find it hard to compete. For example, the more sellers and buyers that join Etsy, the more attractive it becomes to each group, making it hard for a new marketplace to lure them away. A culture that fosters innovation, speed, and adaptability can become a lasting differentiator. Competitors can copy features, but it's hard to replicate an agile team with strong internal alignment. To make a competitive advantage sustainable, startups must continuously improve their offering, stay close to customers, and adapt to their evolving needs, monitor competitors and respond strategically, and invest in capabilities like skills, systems, and tools that reinforce their differentiation. Startups that rest on their laurels risk losing their edge. Sustainability isn't about standing still, it's about continuously strengthening your position while making it harder for others to catch up. Let's talk now about the importance of customer segmentation. Customer segmentation is a strategic approach that involves dividing a broad customer base into smaller, distinct groups that share similar characteristics or behaviors. These segments can be based on demographics such as age, gender, or income, psychographics such as lifestyle, values, and interests, geography, location, or behavioral traits such as purchasing patterns or product usage. The goal of customer segmentation is to create a more tailored and effective marketing, sales, and product strategies that better meets the needs of specific customer groups. For startups, segmentation is crucial because it enables them to focus their limited resources on the most profitable or high potential segments. It helps identify the ideal customers and understand their pain points, preferences, and purchasing behaviors. Instead of a one size fits all approach, startups can develop products or services that speak directly to the needs of each customer group, resulting in higher conversion rates, higher customer satisfaction, and better customer retention. Furthermore, segmentation also helps prioritize which markets or segments to enter first, ensuring that startups can achieve product market fit before expanding their reach. Customer segmentation is a foundational practice for any startup looking to grow strategically. Instead of treating all customers as a single homogeneous group, segmentation involves dividing your customers into a smaller base with well defined segments based on shared characteristics. This approach allows the startups to understand and serve their customers with far greater precision. At its core, customer segmentation enables more effective decision making across product development marketing, sales, and customer support by recognizing that not all customers have the same needs, motivations, or value to the business. Startups can segment customers in a variety of ways depending on the business model and goals. For one, there's demographic segmentation. This focuses on quantifiable attributes such as age, gender, income, education, occupation. For example, a startup that's selling baby products might target new parents aged 25 to 40. For psychographic segmentation, it delves into personality traits, values, beliefs, lifestyles, and interests. For example, a sustainable fashion startup may target environmentally conscious, socially aware millennials. Number three is geographic segmentation. This groups customers based on location, region, country, climate, urban versus rural, etc. For example, a food delivery startup may launch first in a dense urban market center before expanding to suburban areas. Number four is behavioral segmentation. This focuses on how customers interact with your product or brand, including how often do they buy, how loyal are they, and are they going to stick with your product? What are their usage patterns? What are their response to promotions? For example, a SaaS startup might offer premium free shirts to high usage customers while nurturing free tier users toward conversion. Five is needs based segmentation. This identifies specific problems or goals customers are trying to solve. Productivity app might segment users based on use case. Freelancer tracking time versus teams managing projects. So why does customer segmentation matter for startups? It improves your product market fit by understanding the specific needs of each segment. Startups can design products that solve real problems for real people rather than trying to please everyone and pleasing no one. Marketing becomes more effective when it speaks directly to a segment's values, language, and pain points. This leads to better engagement, higher conversion rates, and lower customer acquisition costs. Resource optimization. Startups often have limited resources. Segmentation can help prioritize efforts towards the most promising or profitable customer groups. There's higher customer satisfaction and retention when customers feel understood when a company addresses their unique needs. This personalization builds loyalty and trust. Better competitive positioning. This is when startups believe deeply and understand their own niche segment, and they can differentiate more clearly from competitors and avoid head to head battles with larger, less nimble players. To use segmentation effectively, startups should gather data from multiple sources such as surveys, web analytics, customer relationship management systems, and user feedback. They should analyze patterns to identify distinct groups within each customer base. They should create customer personas representing each segment. These are fictional but realistic profiles that guide decisions. They should then test and refine their strategies tailored to each segment. So they could do targeted ads, personalized onboarding, or custom pricing. They could also monitor performance to ensure the segments are still relevant and profitable as the business evolves. So let's imagine a fitness tech startup offering a smart wearable. Through segmentation, they identify three core user groups. There's the tech savvy early adopters, ages 25 to 35, urban with high income. There's casual fitness enthusiasts, age 30 to 45, suburban, they value simplicity. And there's chronic condition managers, age 50 plus, that are focused on heart rate monitoring and health tracking. Instead of using a one size fits all marketing campaign, the startup creates three. One is a sleek branding campaign for early adopters. Two is educational content and community engagement for casual users. And three is partnership with healthcare providers for older users. Each segment receives a tailored experience, which increases relevance, satisfaction, and ultimately revenue. Understanding the competitive landscape is vital for any startup looking to navigate the market successfully. One of the most widely used tools for competitive analysis is Porter's Five Forces model. This framework, developed by Michael Porter, helps startups analyze the factors that affect competition within an industry. Five forces are threat of new entrants, which is how easy or difficult is it for new competitors to enter the market. Barriers to entry, such as high capital investment, technology, or brand loyalty, can protect startups from this threat. Two is bargaining power of suppliers. How much control do suppliers have over the prices of inputs? If there are only a few suppliers or unique materials are required, this could limit a startup's leverage. Number three is bargaining power of buyers. How much influence do customers have on the prices or quality of products? When there are many options on the market, customers can demand lower prices or better service. Number four is the threat of substitute products or services. Are there alternative products that could replace what your startup offers? A high threat of substitutes can reduce profitability and market share. 5 is industry rivalry. The intensity of competition within the industry, high levels of rivalry can lead to price wars, increased marketing expenses, and reduced margins. By analyzing these 5 forces, startups can understand the competitive dynamics in their industry and adjust their strategy accordingly. For example, if rivalry is high, a startup might differentiate itself through unique offerings, branding, or customer service. If the threat of substitute is significant, the startup might focus on innovation or build stronger customer loyalty. This framework is invaluable for assessing external pressures and shaping strategic directions to stay competitive. Understanding the competitive landscape is critical for startups aiming to survive and thrive in any industry. It's not just about knowing who your direct competitors are, it's about recognizing the broader forces that shape the environment in which your business operates. This is where Porter's 5 forces framework becomes incredibly useful. Michael Porter was a Harvard Business School professor, and his model provides a structured way to assess the attractiveness and profitability of an industry by analyzing the 5 key competitive forces. For example, this insight is crucial in helping shape strategic decisions such as pricing, product differentiation, market entry, and positioning. So let's break this down a little bit more. Competitive rivalry looks at the intensity of competition among existing players in the market. High rivalry typically leads to price wars, aggressive marketing, and pressure on margins. If you're a startup, you're entering the market with many established players offering similar products. You'll need a clear value proposition or a niche to stand out. For example, a new food delivery app enters a city already served by Uber Eats, DoorDash, or Skip. And local platforms face intense rivalry and will need to differentiate with local partnerships or a unique customer experience. For the threat of new entrants, how easy is it for new competitors to enter the industry? If the barriers are low, such as minimal capital, simple technology, more players can enter and increase competition. If you're in an industry with few barriers, like dropshipping or mobile apps, consider building defensible moats like brand loyalty, proprietary tech, or community. Some common barriers to entry can include high startup costs, strong brand loyalty of incumbents, regulatory or licensing requirements, economies of scale that existing firms might already have. For example, a telehealth startup entering a regulated healthcare market must deal with licensing, data security, and trust. And these are barriers that can deter less prepared entrants. There's also the bargaining power of suppliers. This examines how much influence suppliers have over your cost of product loyalty. If few suppliers dominate the market, they can dictate the terms. If your business relies on a limited number of critical suppliers, such as a limited ingredient or chipset, you may face vulnerability unless you diversify or develop alternatives. For example, a hardware startup relying on a single manufacturer in China may face disruptions or price increases that threaten margins. And we've seen a lot of this lately with the tariff wars that are ongoing. Then there's the bargaining power of buyers. This reflects how much power customers have to drive prices down, demand better service, or can switch to other competitors easily. Startups often face this when customers have many choices or switching costs are low. To counteract this, startups can build switching costs through ecosystems effects, loyalty programs, or customer service. For example, in a SaaS company, free trials and easy cancellations increase buyer power. To retain users, companies must continuously add value and reduce churn. For the threat of substitutes, this refers to the risk of customers choosing alternatives based on those that fulfill the same need. These aren't necessarily direct competitors, but they might solve the problem in a different way. And you see this a lot with like Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu, and all of the other different TV and movie streaming services. It's pretty easy to switch, but it's got a very high barrier to entry. Always ask, what could customers use instead of my product? The biggest threat isn't a similar company, it's a different approach altogether. For example, a project management tool like Trello doesn't just compete with Asana, it also competes with spreadsheets, email, and even pen and paper systems. So, as a startup, here's how you can use Porter's 5 forces to your advantage. Assess industry attractiveness. Use the model to decide whether the industry you're entering is likely to be profitable long term. Define your strategy. Identify where to differentiate, how to avoid price based competition, or what partnerships could mitigate supplier power. Find innovation opportunities. If buyer power is strong, can you create more value or convenience? If substitutes are a threat, can you integrate your product into a broader workflow to increase stickiness? Anticipate and plan. Use the forces to anticipate potential risks early, such as new entrant disrupting the market or supplier tightening margins. Here is an example of applying Porter's five forces to a startup in a functional food company. The rivalry is high. There's a lot of players entering the healthy snack space. The number of new entrants is moderate, low production barriers, but strong brand needed to scale. For suppliers, it's moderate. There's a fair amount on the market. But specialty ingredients like pea protein or mushrooms may limit options. The buyers have high amount of power. Health conscious consumers have many alternatives and do extensive research. In terms of substitutes, they are high. Customers can choose protein shakes, traditional snacks, or whole foods instead. And what is the strategic response? Focus on strong brand identity, transparent sourcing, and functionality that addresses the specific lifestyle needs, such as gut health, energy, focus. Together, these topics provide a comprehensive approach to market analysis and building competitive advantage. By combining effective market research, recognizing trends, and developing sustainable advantages, startups can position themselves to thrive in an increasingly competitive landscape. Understanding customer segmentation and using tools like Porter's five forces further develop and enhance the ability to create strategies that respond effectively to market forces. And given the past few episodes in this series, we have another set of homework, which includes conducting effective market research and competitive analysis for your startup idea or startup that you're working. Spend some time identifying market trends and opportunities. Try to iterate on what is your sustainable competitive advantage. Can you summarize it in 90 seconds and have a really tight, elevator pitch? Understand the importance of customer segmentation and identify what your top 2 or 3 customer segments are. Analyze the competitive landscape using a framework like Porter's five forces.